Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm recapping Hell of a Summer, a comedy slasher that was shot in 2023 but didn't hit screens until 2025. The movie opens at a summer camp called Camp Pineway. We see the camp owners, John and Kathy, relaxing by the lake. Everything seems perfect until they run out of beer. Now, if horror movies have taught us anything, it's this: never go back alone for beer. Kathy ignores that unwritten rule. She returns with the beer, only to find a guitar jammed into John's mouth. Horrified, she runs for her life and locks herself inside the car. But instead of starting the engine, she freezes, because the killer is already inside. Without a word, he plunges a knife through the seat, killing her instantly. The killer wears a devil mask. And where does the devil live? Hell. This isn't just a summer camp, this is the hell of a summer. The camp officially opens in 2 days, when the kids arrive. But tomorrow, the counselors will show up, and for them, this summer is about to become a nightmare. The next day, 11 counselors arrive, once campers themselves, now grown up and ready to lead. Their names: Jason, Mike, Claire, Shannon, Ezra, Miley, Noel, Demi, Ari, Bobby, and Chris. Among them, Jason is the oldest, 24 years old. Yet, instead of building a future, he keeps coming back to this camp every year. Everyone mocks him for it. Even his own mother dropped him off this time, while the rest came alone. Last year, the teasing hit Jason so hard, he swore he'd never return. But here he is again, because John and Kathy invited him. Or maybe he just needed an excuse. Truth is, Jason never plans ahead. He lives in the past, clinging to camp memories. No real friends, no connection. No one even talks to him. Not even Claire, his ex. Once, his childish nature was charming. Now, it's just sad. While others have moved on, Jason remains stuck. And yes, you guessed it. This slasher gives major Friday the 13th vibes. The main character is named Jason. Need I say more? Among the group, the most popular is Demi, a social media influencer. The moment she arrives, she makes Jason her errand boy. Once she's done using him for her vlog, she kicks him aside. Ari, the screenwriter, calmly shares his script with Shannon until the rich boys, Bobby and Chris, interrupt. Shannon is clearly into Chris and vice versa, but neither admits it. Chris and Bobby also have a strange bond. Bobby's former stepdad is now Chris's stepdad. The car they drove in belongs to him, so technically both have a claim to it. That shared connection causes tension, but their bromance holds strong. Meanwhile, Jason tries mingling with everyone, but wherever he goes, people just say the same thing. "You came back? Weren't you done with this place?" He laughs it off, saying, "They called me, so I came." But deep down, the rejection stings. When he meets Claire, she casually mentions she had a new boyfriend, but they broke up 3 weeks ago. That's the only reason she came. Otherwise, she wouldn't have bothered. Jason thinks about sharing something from his life, but there's nothing to share. His life hasn't moved forward. Later, he visits John and Kathy's office, only to find it empty, except for a note. "Emergency. We'll be back by tomorrow morning. Please watch over the camp." Jason reads it and smiles. For the first time, he feels important. He thinks he's in charge now, but in reality, he has no idea what's coming. Jason tried to impress everyone by sharing his thoughts, but no one seemed interested. He kept rambling while everyone got up and walked away. However, Jason made sure to collect everyone's phones, since that was the camp rule. After Jason's little speech, everyone got into the swing of things. He started giving Claire archery lessons, during which he mentioned that John and Kathy had specially invited him, but they weren't even here. Jason was convinced it was a test to see if he could handle the camp without them. Claire, half joking, agreed, but didn't say much. Meanwhile, everyone was paired off in their little couples. Bobby, though, wasn't having much luck. He tried impressing Demi, but she was already dating Mike. He got frustrated and moved off to sulk, and that's when Jason approached him. Bobby didn't recognize him at first, but Jason reminded him that they had been coming here together for 8 years. Bobby had always been focused on girls, but that didn't work out for him either. After some thinking, Bobby finally remembered who Jason was, but then mentioned that Jason wasn't even supposed to be here this year. At lunch, Bobby tried hitting on Miley, thinking she was vegan. He figured if he pretended to be vegan too, she might talk to him. But sadly, that plan failed miserably. We also learn that Ari has a nut allergy. If anyone eats nuts near him, he gets anxiety. Now, back to the action. That night, Demi was alone in her cabin when the killer sneaked up behind her. He killed her, and all we saw were blood splatters. Meanwhile, Miley was in the kitchen, about to break her vegan diet and eat a meat burger when the killer appeared and decapitated her, satisfying his hunger in a very twisted way. Mike, hearing the commotion, rushed in but didn't stand a chance. The killer got him too. A little while later, Jason, who had the habit of barging into everyone's cabins, found his way into Demi's. There, he discovered her bloody corpse on the bed. He screamed, running around telling everyone that Demi was dead. But, of course, they thought he was just playing a prank. Desperate, he tried to call the police, but all the phones were gone. Things were getting worse by the minute. Eventually, the others joined him in Demi's cabin, but there was no body to be found. The bed was soaked with blood, though, and they had no choice but to believe him. In a panic, everyone rushed towards the cars, but none of them were in working condition. The killer had already made sure of that. With no other option, they all ran to one cabin and locked themselves inside. Only then did they realize that Miley and Mike were both missing. They needed to call for help, and the only chance they had was the landline phone. Jason decided to go alone, but Claire wouldn't let him go by himself. They figured out who would accompany him and chose Ari and Ezra. The three of them somehow made their way to the main hall where the phone was, but when they got there, it was useless. As expected, the phone line had been cut, but there was one thing they hadn't expected to find: Miley's severed head, hidden inside the fridge. The sight terrified them, and they scattered in all directions. Jason was the only one who made it back to the cabin. He quickly told everyone what happened, and they started waiting for Ari and Ezra to return. But neither of them came back. After waiting for a while, they were all getting desperate. That's when Noelle came up with a new idea, using a Ouija board to contact the spirits. Being a goth girl, Noelle was particularly interested in the supernatural, so she was eager to give it a try. But the others didn't know why they all agreed to it. Noelle began summoning Ezra's spirit and asked him first if he was dead. The reply was yes. Then she asked who killed him, and the answer was, I don't know. After that, Noelle tried to contact Demi's spirit, but before she could get any answers, someone opened the door and walked in. It was Ezra, alive. Noelle's cover was blown, but as soon as Ezra entered, Bobby, in a panic, sprayed bear spray in his face, severely injuring him. Now, Ezra was here, but what about Ari? The killer had tied Ari up. When he tried to escape, the killer stabbed him with a knife dipped in peanut butter, triggering his nut allergy. Within moments, Ari was dead. The killer dragged his body away. Back in the cabin, Ezra caused a commotion by revealing that the killer was none other than Jason himself. He had collected everyone's phones, spread the news about the killer, and kept himself apart from the group. Maybe he was jealous of them all, so he was picking them off one by one. Believing this, the group tied Jason up and began interrogating him, but Jason's mouth was taped shut, so he couldn't respond. Since he wasn't talking, everyone went to the kitchen to gather torture tools. Only Bobby was left in the cabin. Seeing an opportunity, Claire knocked Jason free and helped him escape. She urged him to leave, fearing that the group would torture him, but Jason refused. He knew the others were ready to kill him, yet he still wanted to save them. After moving a little further, they found the bodies of John and Kathy, shattering their hopes that anyone would come to help. Staying there was no longer an option, but Jason still refused to leave. He pushed Claire ahead and decided to go back, determined to save the others. As everyone scattered to find their phones, they knew splitting up was necessary. However, this move gave the killer an opportunity. He took advantage of the chaos and killed Noelle. But that wasn't enough for him. After stabbing her, he was about to crush her face with a rock when, out of nowhere, another person wearing the same mask appeared. It was then revealed that there were two killers, not one. The second killer, who was none other than Mike, smashed Noelle's head with a rock. The two killers were now fully exposed, Demi and Mike. They had planned everything, all for fame. Their ultimate goal was to get internet fame by making it look like only two people survived the massacre, believing that would bring them the spotlight, making them heroes with millions of followers. Chris walks into a room and sees them kissing. He freezes, shocked to see them alive. The others are just as surprised, but instead of being suspicious, they're relieved. As far as they're concerned, Jason is still the killer. Hearing this, Demi and Mike hatched a new plan. They would frame Jason for everything, kill him, and then wipe out the remaining survivors to make sure the fame was all theirs. Following their plan, they filmed a video with the others, claiming that Jason had gone mad and wanted to kill them. With this fabricated evidence, they were ready to proceed. As soon as Jason entered the camp, Mike knocked him out, and the killing spree started again. The first victim was Ezra. The killer broke his leg and then drove an axe into his head, making it the first, and the most brutal kill shown in the movie. After Ezra's death, Chris became the next target. To save him, Bobby risked his life and led the killer away. But it was Claire, who had come to save Jason, that ended up saving Bobby just in time. Through this, they realized that Mike and Demi were the real killers. Mike was right in front of them, and Demi was busy setting Jason up. Determined to save Jason, Claire rushed to him. As she left, Mike grabbed Bobby again, and a brutal struggle ensued, even setting the cabin on fire. But Bobby managed to stab Mike in the neck, removing him from the picture. The fame Mike dreamed of would never come to him. Meanwhile, Demi tried to convince Jason that he would get more fame than her. But Jason wasn't interested in her offer. Just then, Claire appeared with a bow and arrow. Demi, in desperation, tried to stab Jason, but Jason's bow training helped him dodge. Claire shot an arrow straight into Demi's eye, but she didn't die instantly. In her final moments, Demi kicked out, pushing the arrow even deeper into her head, finally ending her life. With the cabin still burning, Jason rushed in and saved Bobby from the flames. He would never forget who the real killer was. At this point, Chris and Shannon arrived, their fates now sealed. Jason and Claire's bond grew stronger, and the movie concluded with an intense ending, leaving everyone wondering how they would ever escape the horrors they had just faced. And that's a wrap for today's recap. If you enjoyed the twists and turns, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more spine-chilling recaps. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Who did you think the killer was? Until next time, stay tuned and stay scared.